Welcome to another episode of Scared. This time we're coming to you from the Knickerbocker Hotel in Linesville, Pennsylvania. Now, one of the really cool things about this location is that it's not open to the general public. What's got me really excited is last time I was here, I had my own personal experience, and I wasn't even investigating. So tonight, we got the whole crew back here. Turn off your lights, turn up your volume, and get ready to be scared.
I'm Peg Knickerbocker, and I have a haunted destination. It's called the Knickerbocker Hotel in Linesville, Pennsylvania. And I care for it lovingly, and we got it in 1993. August of 1993, we started the process, and we opened in November on Election Day. During that time frame, we were doing a lot of restoration work. How I did the building was I tried to honor every 10 years of the building's age, and the building's 130 years. So I started looking to get items that would bring back the history of the building and bring back the ambiance of the building. I don't do anything to the general public, and I'm not a bed and breakfast or a hotel motel or anything like that.
With the Knickerbocker, it's not constantly open to the public, so it kind of creates this kind of urban legend. Some people have heard about it, some people haven't.
This town has a lot of story to it. I never knew about it till about 6 months ago, and when I went in there, totally believable. I understand it, and it's an amazing place.
In a town like Linesville, you can usually find out fairly quickly whether something's true or not.
I've heard multiple stories of it. Some people think it's weird and don't believe it, and some people sound really interested in trying to go to it.
In our journal so far, we have over 200 personal experiences documented.
I lived here at the Knickerbocker for maybe about 6 months. I stayed here, and every night that I would go to bed, I would feel somebody get in bed with me.
I was up on the 3rd floor in the 2nd room to the right. All of a sudden, all I could feel was a bunch of cold air and a few footsteps that walked right between us. I looked at Peg like, "Did you feel that?" And she just looked at me with a smile and said, "I did."
So I would say that the experiences have actually in this hotel been more than just somebody hearing it. There have been interactions with it. So I think that's a pretty unique place to be.
Sleep in any scary rooms tonight. I want to be in the quietest room in the house. Wait, say that to that camera, because I want this broadcast to the world.
With the whole crew on hand, it was time to get to work. First, I sent Brooke out to do some digging at the local historical society, while Brian, fresh off the set of Haunted Collector, met with Peg to gather any information about possible links between reported paranormal activity and the many items and antiques which fill each room of the Knickerbocker Hotel.
It seems like you have items placed in specific rooms and locations. How many of them are to draw in spirits, and how many of them are there to wake up ones that you feel are in the room already?
I tried to do a room from every era because I felt that it's 130 years, so 13 different 10-year eras. If there were spirit activity, it could see something and become comfortable, and then maybe more interaction would be with the people who come to scientifically find evidence of spirit activity. I was giving it its own area.
in any place there could be a little bit of traffic of coming in and out, and then sometimes you have a specific personality attached to a room. Tell me a little bit about that here.
So this object was in the wall, and it's an old top of a cigar box with an original stamp on it. And when we moved a piece of the board to redo the woodwork in order to insulate the walls, this was down inside of it.
The things that are used as trigger objects to dress up a room, to make it have that antique feel, those have their own energies attached to them from somewhere else that are now mixing together to maybe have a new haunting in here.
Some of the items that are here I was real picky about because I knew about stuff bringing its own energy. I had heard a lot about that, and I thought that wouldn't be something I want to have happening, especially being so open to the spirit activity and being so open as a spiritualist.
While psychics have their place and gadgets and equipment have their place during a paranormal investigation, you can't forget about your five senses. That's why I like to institute what we call quiet time. Just get acclimated to your room and become accustomed to your natural surroundings. Quiet time was over, and after that, man, it sure didn't stay quiet for very long. So now explain exactly what's going on.
The thermal's reading 90 degrees in the corner. It looks like the heat is in front of the bricks. The wall's clearly 66, 65. Like 88, 89 in the one cracked corner here. See that top number, 84?
Okay.
And it's saying the corner here is 84, 85. But there's nothing there.
When they were putting the heating system in, they found old bones that had been buried years and years and years ago. And then we had to stop at that point to make sure they weren't human bones or burial ground bone or anything of that sort. And we had to have them analyzed, and then they could go through and they could continue with doing the heating system.
Yeah, so I went here, I went upstairs, I went to the other side, and I'd see if there's a hot water pipe going through there. There isn't. For some reason, it's just, this one corner is much hotter. But the funny thing is, it ends here. And there's no hot pipes going across there. They're all cold. If they were hot, I would see it.
So it's not coming from these pipes either.
No, look. The whole thing's just 68, 69.
Let's say for some reason, Ed,
Yeah.
you can't explain that. Then kind of what do you think?
Good question.
My name is Deborah Lantz. I'm a psychic medium. I do readings. I am also an author, but what I love most is paranormal investigating. I work differently than most psychic mediums in the fact that I like to carry around a notebook. When I first get to location, I walk around, I jot things down as I pick them up. Messages start coming to me immediately when I walk in a building. I see things with my physical senses, with my eyes, my ears, and my sense of smell, as well as using what I call my clairvoyant senses or my sixth sense. There's 3 children's spirits there right under the staircase.
This is not active anymore, the staircase.
It doesn't make a difference. They're right there. These children do hang out down here for some reason. I don't know why. That might come to me later.
When you see the spirit of a child, does that mean the person died as a child?
Not necessarily. Sometimes spirits come back at an age that they were most happy. There's actually a dog down here. It's like a black retriever. It's a large black dog. There's also a lady, she used to work here. She's black. She was like a cook and a cleaning lady in the early 1900s. I don't have a name on her. I have a visual on her. She's very small, very petite lady. Has her hair pulled back in a turban. Very delightful lady. She's more upstairs though, but she just came down to check on me.
Now, is this spirit trying to communicate, or is it just curious as to why you're here?
Just
Any
curious.
communication? Just looking.
Right. When I walk in a building, this is how I describe what happens. It's like if you were only English-speaking person, you walked into a room and everyone spoke French. But you saw someone who had an American flag above their head, you knew they spoke English, you're drawn to that person. So the spirits in this house are drawn to me.
They speak their language.
Right. So they've been checking in on us the entire time. That's why I was getting antsy upstairs. I wanted to start sharing their messages.
Now, any feelings from the spirit, like positive, negative curiosity, or they're just
More curiosity.
Curiosity?
More curiosity. The best way to explain ghosts are people who've died, who've not crossed into the light. They're grounded here on the earth plane. Heaven, or crossing the other side, is just another layer above grounded spirits or ghosts. But these children's spirits are very grounded to this area, so they have not crossed over into the light.
I say what happens with groups that want to come in and explore the possibility with scientific equipment. I know what a deer cam is. That's out in the woods. And the deer cam is to capture a deer coming forth. As spirit is like nature, it takes the path of least resistance. So all of this new equipment, I believe by allowing it to be in this building, they will capture and document and help to explore the possibility that other people now can see scientifically, because some people, that's the only way they're going to believe something, what has gone on and what is happening in this field. And just like that deer will not go through the thicket and he'll come up the path and get captured by that cam, I believe that's what will happen in this building.
Sometimes I'll take a picture, I won't even aim at anything in particular. Other times there may be an object that has a rumor or someone had experience with that object. This bottle here is one of the objects that Peg has pointed out that can be used as a trigger object. So there might be some activity around there, so that's why I'm going to take numerous pictures of this bottle. I got dust.
It's not dust.
It's a spooky ghost. I've always wanted to catch something on film, be it video or some kind of still photography. I actually have had experiences where I've heard things and I've felt things, but I've never seen anything. And I've kind of always wanted to experience that. So, you know, keep trying.
Lorraine Warren walked in this building and said, "Peg, this building is filled with ghosts. You just got to take more pictures."
There was an interesting room on the second floor that had a doorway that was completely bricked off. Reports from that room include shadow forms and the sounds of footsteps.
There has been experiences of people seeing shadow people out not just the corner of their eye, but go between the rooms where another person was sleeping, and the other person actually saw the shadow go from their room to the other room, and both came downstairs and asked for other rooms because they could not stay in those two rooms.
Now, by using the full spectrum camera, I'm hoping to get some evidence of this activity. Our decision to focus on this spot was reinforced by Deb when she came into this room.
So I'm sitting here and I open my eyes and I see this energy walk through, but she walked right through this brick wall.
Any reason why she walked through
I
that
don't
brick
know.
wall?
I know, I didn't have a chance to ask her. She just went right through that wall. I don't know if there's a hall or connecting, but there's something on the other side. And I'm actually hearing, I should just on film, like, oh, singing, like, oh, on the other side. So I don't know if she was a singer, or she was going to a singing event, but she was going someplace musical. So.
Well, what was on the other side of this wall? Any idea?
I don't know.
I had known, not when I first got this place, but later on, and did not know until I talked to other owners that used to go to the opera house.
Cha-ching! That's what I heard, the whoa singing. Thank you.
And this was a wall.
You
This
better
was
edit
the
that
wall.
out.
Oh no, that's staying in.
Guests who were staying here would be able to get dressed up and go straight into the next building without having to go outside. To detect if anyone were still doing this, we employed an old school method: baby powder. So far, no visible disturbances of the baby powder that we put down.
We came in here to check on the baby powder, And I had asked Brian if he thought that it looked okay. Was it too much or how I should do it? And he said it looked okay, but we should smooth it out and add more. So I bent down and I was putting more baby powder, and when we got up, I noticed that the ovulus said, "Do smooth instead," which is exactly what he told us to do. And then a couple of seconds later, it said test.
Speaking of Lorraine Warren, the first time I visited the Knickerbocker Hotel, I stayed in the same room she was known to frequent, and I had a total creep-out experience. When I was going to bed, I actually heard a voice whisper directly in my ear. Now, this was not an EVP. I heard this with my ears.
It is so refreshing to know that when it does happen to somebody and they go to sleep and hear something right in their own ear, as Chris had in the room where he slept the night he first came here, and that's what made them curious enough to want to come back and investigate this hotel.
At the time, we weren't there to investigate. We didn't even have any equipment on us. But I'm sure I sounded pretty crazy. So needless to say, I could not wait to get back to that room and try to capture some evidence. Hi, my name is Chris. Can you tell me what your name is? You don't want to talk to me? Holy shit, dude! That was clear as day! Wow, thank you very much, man! Why are you hot? Are you hot looking? Wow. Alright, calm down. Lots of voices. Getting so many responses and voices coming through in that room was a little bit surprising, but it also validated my prior experience. It's nice to know I'm not crazy, at least about this.
Something going on over here?
We've had rocks thrown here, but normally coming from this direction.
So it was something that came at you with enough force that it couldn't have just like fallen from one of these rafters and tumbled over? It was like thrown?
It was completely horizontal, like at leg level. So I
Okay.
saw it go past his shins, and then it went to the ground and rolled.
All right, let me just get this working, and let's do an EVP session down here.
Do you know who throws rocks at people down here?
You know, if I found myself down here and I couldn't speak, I couldn't enunciate, you know, I might kick a rock over to two to say, hey, here I am. Is that what you were doing?
How about you throw another rock? Just don't throw it at us. Can you throw it away from us?
No, obviously there's definitely things we'd probably rather be doing than hanging out in the basement, but if you're down here too, we'd like to know why.
It's not much of a social area.
It's a nice hotel. I mean, there's great rooms on every floor, kitchen upstairs. Peg makes a hell of a breakfast.
She puts a lot of care into the place.
Well, that's the thing. All right, here we go. We've got a nice hotel. We've got a bar across the street, karaoke. I mean, there's fun things to do. There's better places to go than hanging out here in this basement. If there's something keeping you down here, you know, let us know. Maybe we could shed some light on it.
We're down here looking for you. What's your reason for being in this area? What's your reason for being here? We're down here looking for you. What's your reason for being in this area? What's your reason for being here? We're down here looking for you. What's your reason for being in this area? What's your reason for being here?
3.6. I think seems to be a pretty normal basement temperature. No fluctuations. Normal basement temperature. No fluctuations. Normal basement temperature. No fluctuations.
It was beneficial for Peg to accompany Deb during her walkthrough. Not only could she confirm any impressions Deb was picking up, she could also possibly fill in any blanks for context.
Sometimes spirits will walk right up to me at very inconvenient times and make their presence known, and it's so loud I have to stop whoever I'm speaking with at that time and take the message from spirit. This lady is definitely black, or is black heritage. So
I know that the people were involved with moving slave and slave trafficking.
and she has told me that she came here through Underground Railroad. Was there Underground Railroad in Linesville?
Oh yeah. Moses
Okay.
Bishop was a lightning conductor, and he moved the slaves from here to Andover, Ohio.
So what she's telling me is that she got here through the Underground Railroad and stayed with this family, I don't know who they are, and helped them out. She didn't have any children, she had no family, so she was very happy here. I'm also an empath, so I pick up their feelings that they went through. For example, if you walk in a room where someone had passed away from a lingering illness, I sometimes will start to feel a little sick. I just go outside and clear it off. There's so much residual stuff here because of all the antiques.
Psychic impressions, not live spirits.
Well, some of them come back to visit their stuff, and some are just, as you say, impressions, the energy that remains with it.
I believe that people can love an item so much that their spirit enters into the item. I think dolls do that with little girls.
Children love this doll. The children up here, the children spirits that I'm referring to, they absolutely love this doll. There's a little girl here who's constantly adjusting the dress on this little doll. I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but she plays with the bonnet and the dress, and she plays with the hands. She holds this little baby's hands, plays with the ribbon. Little blonde girl, maybe like 5 or 7. You must collect antiques because this place is just full of antiques. There's lots of residual energy connected to some of these pieces. The basement's packed with residual energy too.
Some of the things that I have in the building are from my husband's family, they've been in this country since 1609, and so they have a rich history.
As she continued her walkthrough, Deb was picking up on a lot of energies in the hotel. Some were active, but most were residual. Objects were often the focus, but Deb had another explanation.
But the spirits absolutely adore Peg. She has drawn lots of these spirits in herself. Not necessarily associated with the building, but it's because she's so open.
This very chair, on the Knickerbocker webcam webpage, viewers who were monitoring the cams at the time saw what appeared to be a form, a shape. They took a screen grab, and what came out was a figure that resembled a cat. Peg, the owner, put this picture of a cat right next to it, and upon inspection of the picture and the screen grab, it's very hard to argue that it does resemble a cat.
Could this be a glitch in the frame rate? Could this be something that the DVR camera and the IR systems involved caused an optical illusion?
Using the full spectrum camera, I'm going to search this room to see if there's a spectral feline headed about. While the rest of the crew is looking for human spirit, I'm going to look for feline spirit. This will be my trigger object. Here, kitty. Dinner time, little beady. We spend time crawling around in the dark here looking for things that are for the most part, intangible. We now have EM pumps that pump EM out to try to help the spirits manifest, but we've got that already. You know, if there was a ghost cat sitting in this chair, perhaps the thing in this room, the humidifier, the power switches, gave it just enough for it to show up in a picture.
Children are drawn to this room. Children are absolutely drawn to this room. It's not because it's set up with cribs. They're drawn to the energy of this child in here. What I'm seeing in my mind is that it rocks occasionally on its own, just like this, real subtly.
Yes, I've walked in the room and the rocker has been rocking without anybody being in the room.
I love children, so I'm enjoying this child spirit and the energy here. There are children running around up here.
Are the children from the basement up here, or is it different children?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen them. I've seen their energy. Just like 3 little like columns of light, and I'm hearing laughter and the sounds of actually what the sound is like. It's not on the carpet, it's on hardwood, like hardwood from their time period.
Did you catch that? Here, watch again. While Deb was describing the antics of the children, a tiny dress fell from a hook on the bed. While this could be attributed to gravity alone, it coincided with what Deb was saying. Also, Peg smiled, as if it was a familiar occurrence.
A little mischievous, because what they're showing me they do, they like to take things and hide them.
Now when Lorraine Warren was here, she had stuff go missing.
You find it later that day, like under a chair, under a table, somewhere you have never been gone. It's just these little mischievous children trying to get your attention.
I told her to ask the building to give it back. And when she did, her things that had gone missing were all stacked right under her chair.
As the evening elapsed, our investigations crisscrossed and overlapped. One particular impression by Deb that was verified by Peg brought Chris and I to Dave's room.
Greg says that Deb came upon somebody who, died of throat cancer.
She said she felt uncomfortable in here.
It just feels really uncomfortable in there, and it's just like what are you doing in here? Kind of like, this is my area.
He spent a lot of time in here, very sick.
One guy named Ken, who I guess we'll ask for, another guy named Dave.
And Dave? That's who we're looking for?
So that's who we're looking to find. 76, 77, 78. These are stations that aren't used in the US. 76 to 88 are reserved for Japan only. If we're getting communication in those frequencies only, we know it's not a broadcast, we know it's not a talk show, not unless we were in Japan.
Alright. We are not in Japan at this moment, just so you know.
We're not in Japan.
We're not in Japan.
No, we're Pennsylvania. Maybe right on the Japanese border there.
Linesville, Japan.
Linesville, Japan.
We'd be happy to talk to anyone who wants to, chat with us tonight. But specifically, we're looking for Dave. Dave, are you still here? My name is Brian, and we're in your room at the Knickerbocker Hotel in Linesville, Pennsylvania. We're trying to adjust our equipment here to try to hear you better.
You got a couple of minutes to talk to us? Dave!
I thought I heard him say Dave.
I thought I heard Dave twice.
Yeah.
Deb said she sensed a crotchety old guy in here.
Some old guy doesn't want to talk to us.
We're trying to slow this down and make it easier for you to come through.
If you're a grumpy old guy and people come in here and try to talk to you and you don't want to bother with them, you're not going to respond because you don't want to keep them in here any longer than possible.
I wish there was a way to really lock down when and where things are. Because, all right, if Deb is picking up on this thing, and I asked her, I said, hey, is this residual or intelligent? She said, no, it was intelligent. So, all right, if we have a spirit hanging out in a room, without that developed sixth sense, how are we going to tap into that?
That's why it's good to have psychics with you.
So it's a little frustrating.
When investigating the paranormal, events of the past can have an impact on the present. History can be full of clues. Between pages of historical research and a collection of eyewitness accounts, we had built a solid case file and had a lot to consider for our investigation.
I got all the deeds of all the different owners. I went through and I contacted owners that were still alive and got living history and filmed living history of them walking through the building, explaining their history of the building, where they were in the building, where their rooms were, any names of anybody that ever lived here that they remembered.
Armed with all the information we had collected, we spent our given time peering into the darkness, hoping that those on the other side would be just as curious about us as we were about them.
Hopefully, if anything happens and you guys get anything, you just come to me and we'll talk and I can show you everything I have. So at the end, when you're done, let's do a little bit of matching up.
Although our initial investigation concluded in 2012, we've returned many times to visit. The Knickerbocker Hotel changes frequently, but thanks to Peg, it's always a home for us, as well as the ethereal guests that reside within.
A lot has happened in the 23 years since we started investigating the paranormal. We gained knowledge and insight and have been shaped by our experiences.
Investigating the paranormal can open the doors to the past. But what about the future?
What lessons will the next 23 years have to teach us?
We'll get back to you on that. Until next time, stay scared.
And never stop searching.